Do not set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. We learn about the importance of being generous, sharing, and acting with virtue to build a strong character. Stoicism teaches us to think clearly and thrive in life regardless of circumstances. However, this doesn't mean that we should sacrifice ourselves, often setting ourselves on fire to warm others. Being always available, overly helpful, and seen as kind can be great for those receiving such generosity. But what about yourself? How do you feel when your generosity knows no bounds? In a world where we don't always receive what we offer, we encounter generous people who exhaust themselves in every way. The Stoic way of thinking has reshaped my life and provided emotional resilience. Therefore, I will share 7 situations resulting from excessive kindness and generosity, and how, in practice, we establish limits in our lives based on Stoic knowledge. Before we begin, I would like to thank you for clicking on this video. This was the first step on your journey to improve your life through Stoicism. If you are new here, please like and subscribe to the channel. Statistics show that only 3% of my audience is subscribed to my channel, so if this content has helped you in any way, I ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. 1. Don't set yourself on fire to warm others. Stoics emphasize the importance of living in accordance with reason and virtue. These principles guide actions and decisions in the pursuit of a meaningful and ethical life. Setting boundaries in our relationships is crucial to maintain and preserve balance, avoiding compromising our authenticity and well-being for the sake of others. Sometimes, by reaching out or offering help without realizing it, we volunteer ourselves for suffering. This reminds me of a story that happened on a farm between the friendship of a horse and a donkey, and I would like to share it with you. One night, the horse confided in the donkey about the hardship of its routine, tirelessly plowing from dawn to dusk, facing the heat of the day, leg fatigue, and the harness hurting its neck. Meanwhile, the donkey enjoyed rest and had no major responsibilities, able to relax all day. The donkey was a good friend and understood the horse. "My dear friend," he responded, "you indeed have a heavy workload, and I would like to help. Here's what you can do to take a day off. In the morning, when the farmhand comes, lie down on the ground and let out the loudest groans you can, so he thinks you're sick and unable to work." The horse followed the advice, and the next day, the farmhand reported to the owner that the horse was sick and couldn't be used in the plow. The farmer then ordered the donkey to take over the task for the entire day. The donkey, who only wanted to help his companion, was forced to do the horse's work. That night, the donkey was exhausted and injured, while the rested horse wanted to thank him. "You are a good friend. Thanks to your advice, I could rest all day." The donkey, lamenting, retorted, "I, on the other hand, am like many generous hearts who start by helping a friend and end up being forced to take on their tasks." Have you ever felt like the horse in your life? Share your story in the comments. It's crucial, as in the story, we often want to help someone so much that we spare no effort. Stoicism teaches us to practice self-reflection, meaning always questioning our immediate reactions and striving to live by reason. This process prevents impulsive actions, promoting choices aligned with our values. As Epictetus, one of the most well-known and wise Stoic philosophers, states in his discourses, "When you are about to start some task, stand for a moment and reflect on the nature of the task you are about to perform. You will do your task with greater security if, before you begin, you say to yourself, 'I want to accomplish this task, and at the same time, I want to keep my moral purpose in harmony with nature.'" Stoicism trains us for a new way of thinking, and the lesson here becomes clear. If you want to help a friend, do so, but in a way that their burdens are not placed on your shoulders. Stoics teach us to cultivate balanced relationships where both parties contribute fairly and neither is sacrificed excessively. In summary, the maxim, "Don't set yourself on fire to warm others," aligns with Stoic principles of living rationally, cultivating balanced relationships, and avoiding excessive sacrifices that may compromise your integrity and well-being in all dimensions of your life. 2. Reciprocity has an expiration date. Offering our best and expecting nothing in return is genuinely noble, as Stoicism emphasizes. But often when we give, we find ourselves expecting others to reciprocate with the same level of generosity. Regardless of what you do or have done for someone, it's essential to understand that reciprocity has an expiration date. Even if that person is very grateful at the moment and tells you that they will never forget your help, most people completely forget what they received over time. Sometimes we create expectations about others' actions, carrying the certainty that someone would never act a certain way, or that we can count on someone for everything. Regardless of what happens to us, in a way, we expect recognition and reciprocity. However, when such expectations are not met, the problem arises, and we feel devastated and betrayed. Therefore, avoiding placing our happiness in others' actions, giving without expecting too much in return, protects us from disappointments and teaches us about emotional detachment, providing greater peace of mind. According to the Stoics, the problem starts with our expectations when we presume that others will respond the way we do. We become entirely vulnerable. It's natural to expect reciprocity, but Stoicism reminds us that we don't control others' actions, only our own actions and reactions. Epictetus's wisdom in his discourses emphasizes this. There are two rules to keep ready: that there is nothing good or bad outside my own choice, and that we should not try to lead events, but follow them. Epictetus's quote reinforces the idea that we have to accept events as they happen, without creating illusory expectations or trying to control them, and recognize that good and bad are related to our rational choice. Therefore, when being generous, be aware that reciprocity may not always come. Let's avoid creating expectations, because often expecting reciprocity can lead to discouragement, frustration, and disillusionment. The key is to focus on what you can control, ensuring that your actions are genuinely productive and that you don't waste your time on things you have no power to change. Stoicism teaches us that true wealth lies in our ability to give without expecting anything in return. Finding joy in the act of giving and preserving our peace of mind, regardless of others' reactions, is a fundamental principle. Therefore, let's learn to focus on actions within our reach, cultivating detached generosity that brings inner satisfaction even without the guarantee of recognition or reciprocity. 3. Received requests have no limits. If we go back a few centuries, we will see that some royalty had attendants to dress them, comb their hair, and perform basic personal hygiene tasks. This lack of sense and boundaries seems absurd to us today. However, looking at your own life within your day, how often do people ask you for favors that they could do for themselves? People naturally expect something from us. Stoicism helps us define limits and provides us with means to make them real in our lives. The practice of moderation, one of the Stoic virtues, becomes a guide amid numerous demands, help, and limitless requests. Stoicism advises us to balance our generosity. Instead of passively accepting unlimited requests and favors, by acting with moderation, we maintain control over our actions, avoiding patterns that wear down our emotional well-being. When we constantly take on others' responsibilities, we not only overwhelm ourselves, but also prevent others from growing and facing their challenges. This is evident in a story about a mother and her adult daughter in a small town. The mother, despite being elderly, lovingly cared for her sick daughter, preventing her from taking on her responsibilities. For years, the mother had been taking care of her sick daughter, preventing her from taking on her responsibilities. The daughter depended on her mother for everything, and when she did get up, it was only for basic needs. As she never left her daughter alone, the mother always postponed her routine checkups and exams. Unfortunately, one day, the mother fell ill suddenly and passed away. This left many people concerned about the daughter's well-being, now without her mother's care. After her mother's death, the daughter surprised everyone by resuming her life normally, showing how excessive care, despite good intentions and love involved, can hinder personal growth. This dilemma doesn't just affect others, but also ourselves. Constantly taking on others' responsibilities and neglecting your own needs imprisons you in a cycle of one-sided giving. In this dynamic, only one person is giving, while the other is only receiving. This pattern depletes your energy and undermines your emotional well-being completely. Practicing moderation in generosity, donating in a balanced manner, allows us to maintain control over our actions, avoiding habits that wear out our emotional balance. If we get used to giving constantly, those who benefit from our generosity may begin to expect and desire to receive more and more. Receivers have no limits. No matter how much you do, it will always seem insufficient. It is crucial to practice generosity, but it is also vital to establish clear boundaries and balance the way we offer help to preserve our peace and well-being. We encourage others to take on their own responsibilities and grow as individuals. Remember the wisdom of Emperor Marcus Aurelius when he shared these words in Meditations. A man's job is to stand upright, not to be kept upright by others. In this delicate balance, we discover true generosity that benefits both others and ourselves. Seneca, a renowned statesman, writer, and Stoic philosopher, left a significant legacy by sharing his wisdom through letters, including his reflections on friendship and genuine connection in relationships. In his words, he emphasizes, "He who begins to be your friend because of the benefit will also cease because of the benefit." A person attracted by some reward offered in exchange for their friendship. If he's attracted by something in friendship beyond friendship itself, Seneca highlights the importance of cultivating true bonds, devoid of external motivations. Being excessively generous can result in superficial connections motivated by specific interests, whether financial or something we can do or offer. Often, we condition our value on what we can offer and not on who we are, either out of fear of judgment, not wanting to displease, or not feeling deserving of something. Excessive generosity can often be a way to express this conditioning, and in compensation, we end up expressing excessive gratitude and dedicating ourselves too much to others. Stoicism in practice emphasizes the importance of self-sufficiency and internal control, allowing you to build a solid foundation on principles that do not align with this behavior. Our sense of value, worthiness, and satisfaction are internal feelings that must come from within. Therefore, we have to work on our self-esteem and beliefs about ourselves constantly. This dynamic is not limited to friendship, but extends to all aspects of our relationships, whether professional, personal, or social. Building connections driven by interests creates a fragile foundation that certainly does not withstand small changes or minor challenges. As Epictetus reminds us, in prosperity, it is very easy to find friends. In adversity, there is nothing more difficult. We must establish our relationships based on accepting who we are, including our flaws and qualities. In this way, we build connections that not only allow us to grow, but first and foremost, recognize and accept our true essence. Stoic principles encourage a more solid and authentic approach, where genuine connection develops from mutual understanding and respect for fundamental values. Your priorities take a back seat. The main goal of Stoicism is to live a life with virtue. To achieve this, it is necessary to constantly improve our character and learn to master our emotions, giving us direction to reach our best version. However, when we overload ourselves with others' responsibilities, we are heading in the opposite direction. It is crucial to establish limits in our relationships and prioritize our responsibilities to preserve balance and avoid compromising our authenticity and well-being for others. If you feel suffocated by others' priorities, it is possible that you are avoiding something internal that causes pain and fear. When we engage in others' responsibilities, we end up neglecting our own, leading to neglect of our own lives. In a way, it is easier not to face our internal limits and fears and use this as a justification for the time we dedicate to others' priorities. However, the price of this incessant dedication is high. You lose yourself in the process and realize that your own life is being forgotten due to excessive concern with others' problems. Your inner voice is drowned out, and sooner or later, facing the quietude of your own being, the pain and fear you tried to avoid return with intensity. It is essential to recognize that attending to our own needs and priorities is not selfishness but a form of self-care and preservation of authenticity. The Stoics teach us that setting limits and living in accordance with virtues is not only an act of self-love, but also a path to a meaningful life. Cicero, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, expressed this reality when he said, "Of all the days of our life, few are dedicated to ourselves." The next time you feel tempted to get lost in constant service to others, take a break, acknowledge the uncomfortable emotions that arise in solitude, and welcome them with compassion. Allow yourself to be authentic in your desires and needs. Establish healthy boundaries and learn to say no when necessary. You will find that by honoring your own authenticity, you not only enrich yourself internally, but also can offer balanced and genuine generosity to others. Therefore, it is essential to learn to distribute your time and knowledge efficiently, as well as understand the importance of putting on your own oxygen mask first. This way, you can help others more meaningfully without ignoring your own needs. You have now reached the halfway mark of the video. I congratulate you for trying to become a better version of yourself, and I also humbly ask you to leave a comment, as it helps my channel immensely. If you do not know what to comment, just write mind over body, so I know you reached this far. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Now back to the video. 4. Being seen and treated as fragile. Stoicism encourages us to develop inner strength and self-control, cultivating a healthier mind, establishing boundaries, and practicing self-discipline. When you offer excessive help over time, instead of being seen as authorities or collaborators, ironically, this can create the opposite impression. In this context, the lack of boundaries makes you vulnerable. People perceive this fragility, and instead of respecting you, they may begin to take advantage, using and exploiting in various ways. They start to see you as someone who is always ready to help, always willing to take on any task without questioning. As a result, they exploit and abuse this willingness, leading to situations of exhaustion and complete frustration. When you start saying no firmly but respectfully, something surprising happens. People begin to perceive you differently. You cease to be someone willing to accept everything without questioning and become a person who values themselves enough to set limits, deserving to be treated with dignity and consideration. This change in perception is crucial because by uttering that simple word, you transform how others see you. You overcome your mental obstacles and become a strong person capable of defending your own limits and, consequently, worthy of respect. Ultimately, respect comes not only from what you do for others, but also from how you treat yourself. Cicero, one of the greatest writers and Stoic philosophers of his time, already knew this truth when he told us, "What you think of yourself is much more important than what others think of you." By setting boundaries and practicing self-discipline, you send a clear message to the world. You deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Therefore, the next time you find yourself in a situation where your limits are being tested, remember the strength contained in that small word, no. By uttering it, you are defending yourself and reaffirming your own value. You will encounter many challenges as you implement these changes in your life. Our actions send messages to the world and the people around us. If you are willing to help unconditionally, it is natural for people to approach you only when they need something. This can bring challenging consequences, such as some friends who used to enjoy your company starting to exclude you from parties, social events, or small celebrations, and only remembering you in situations that require help. Consideration seems to exist only when they need a favor. This pattern of behavior may seem cruel, but from a new perspective, it is not so surprising. People usually prefer to invite close friends, family, or those with whom they maintain genuine and balanced relationships for leisure moments, excluding colleagues or collaborators. This change in how we are treated can be disconcerting and entirely unfair, but that's how it works. You find yourself in a position where you offer help with an open heart, only to feel excluded in moments of relaxation. This selective treatment can hurt, generating feelings of disillusionment and betrayal. However, from a Stoic perspective, this dynamic is a test of discernment that challenges you to recognize who truly values your friendship and appreciation, and who is merely taking advantage of your generosity. 5. We will see who our true friends are. We must pay attention to the actions, not the words, of those around us. It is important to remember that Stoicism does not encourage cynicism or distrust, but rather the cultivation of a deep understanding of human nature. By practicing discernment, we can choose to help those who truly need and will appreciate our genuine support. In doing so, we preserve our energy and surround ourselves with people who value us for who we are, not just for what we can offer. Stoicism gives us tools to thrive in life by working with the mind. This challenge provides an opportunity to practice Stoic self-discipline by setting clear boundaries and deciding how to invest our energy and time. By keeping our generosity balanced and directed towards those who truly value our help, we can live according to Stoic principles, finding peace and satisfaction in the complexities of human relationships. Setting your boundaries is a simple process, but without practice, it can leave you disoriented about where to begin acting. Let's explore strategies to avoid being used by people. First strategy. Eliminate the fear of saying no. Ask yourself what the root of your fear of saying no is. Often, this behavior has its roots in childhood when we are repeatedly taught that if we are not nice, no one will like us. These concepts are internalized as unquestionable truths, imbued with fear and recorded in memory. However, Stoicism emphasizes the importance of introspection and continuous questioning in the pursuit of a meaningful life full of purpose. Today, we are adults with the power to make decisions about our lives. Understanding that fear was installed in childhood when you did not have the conditions to question the truth of threats frees you from these possible conditioning. Studying Stoicism, we learn tools to understand our emotions and to stop and think about our responses to life instead of allowing instinct and habit to control them. Saying no in situations where you feel overwhelmed or when the request is unfair, is a way to exercise self-control. Second strategy: pay attention to your feelings. Stoicism teaches us to pay attention to our thought processes, understand our emotions, and cultivate a healthy mind. This Stoic tool works on our self-reflection and self-awareness. When you pay attention to your feelings, it becomes possible to identify if you are dedicating yourself excessively and emotionally draining yourself, allowing adjustments to find a healthy balance. Reflecting on how you feel when helping others, considering both yourself and others' priorities, is crucial. Generosity should bring a sense of satisfaction, almost like walking on clouds. If, on the other hand, you find yourself overwhelmed, lacking energy, irritated or used, it is time to pay attention to your feelings. When something that is not an obligation causes so much discomfort, it is imperative not to deceive yourself and understand how the assistance you offer impacts your well-being. Third strategy: see yourself as a priority. Sometimes we become experts in the weirdest and most unusual subjects and do not take care of ourselves. Following the Stoic principles of self-discipline and self-respect, it is essential to set aside time and space to take care of yourself. Stoicism is the study that takes care of our souls, and the more we practice it, the more we learn to take care of ourselves. So, do not neglect yourself. Take care of your health, your body, your emotions. Notice yourself. See yourself as a priority. This is something you should take seriously. Embrace yourself. Forgive yourself for mistakes, for failures, and see this coming year as an opportunity for Stoic restarts. Choose an activity that is just for you, and in this space of time, be generous with yourself. Respect this, set limits, and do not feel remorse about saying no. If someone wants to invade this time, you can always offer help, but always make it clear that your availability will be limited because you have a life to take care of. Fourth strategy: identify the takers. Following the Stoic principles of self-discipline and discernment, it is important to recognize which relationships benefit you and which, by distancing yourself from people who constantly drain your energy and do not contribute positively, you are taking care of your own well-being and applying Stoic self-control in your relationships. Takers are people who always demand more, whether it's attention, constantly complaining to you, your time, or even money, borrowing a credit card and not honoring payments. Even if you try to help, it is most likely that you will become exhausted, and people cannot get out of the same situation. We cannot fall into the illusion that our good deeds change someone. Each of us carries within ourselves the willpower for change, and no one can open that door except ourselves. Maintaining this type of relationship resembles a parasitic dynamic, with the taker draining the host until dry. Stoics believe that bonds of affection can extend to all of us, humans, and it teaches us to have psychological strength to modify them. We control our ability to choose kindness and generosity in the same way we control our ability to discern and use temperance to balance our relationships. If we give too little, we seem selfish and stingy, while if we give too much, we end up completely drained of energy, time, and probably money too. Stoicism teaches us balance, moderation, to think and analyze our actions. And I hope this video teaches you not to donate too much of all your resources and forget your fundamental goal, which is to have an extraordinary life. And if you donate too little, it teaches you to use generosity wisely, as Seneca reminds us with his words, "Kindness is a treasure. A benefit should be kept like a buried treasure, to be unearthed only in case of necessity." Nature invites us to do good to everyone wherever there is a human being. And now you've reached the end of this lesson. If you enjoyed our video, like it, subscribe, and comment so that YouTube knows that these types of videos are for people like you, and we can continue creating similar videos in the future.